Okay, everybody, this is Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell. This is kind of a series that we're starting, kind of Ocala proud interviews with your Lieutenant Governor. We really wanted to bring you a little hope, bring you some relevant information. We're kind of all on information overload right now. Don't know who to listen to or what to listen to. And I really wanted to kind of bring an interview series that really got straight to the point on some pertinent information that you can use. And the first individual that I'm going to be interviewing he's a big deal. His name's Brent Kisling. He's the executive director at your Department of Commerce. So you can imagine how busy he is, along with Sean Copeland, who's Secretary of Commerce, of really just helping small businesses, helping businesses large and small, get through this crisis that we're in. We don't know how long it's going to take, but we know it's going to be a long road of us getting back to economic prosperity in the state of Oklahoma. With that, I'm going to let Brent introduce himself, and then really what we want to focus on are really the five biggest questions, the five most pertinent, the most asked questions of Brent Kisling every single day right now. What are the answers to those questions? But first, Brent, introduce yourself, because there may be a lot of people around the state that don't know you and kind of your background and really doing economic development in a smaller town too, before doing it across 77 counties.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Lieutenant Governor. It's an honor to be on this conversation today. Ocala proud. Definitely bucket list. This is a bucket list thing for me.
I know. Yes.
Niagara Falls, jumping out of a plane and being on this conversation with you.
This is it, man.
This is the pinnacle. Yes, grew up small town, northwest Oklahoma, in Burlington, town of about 150 people, as a farm kid, and being able to work for Senator Inhofe after I graduated from college, and working on agricultural issues and economic development issues more on the political side, and then serving the George W. Bush administration for all 8 years, managing an agency in Oklahoma called USDA Rural Development, and then the last 10 years have been doing local ED work in Enid, getting to see where the rubber meets the road, really in the world of economic development. And I can tell you it's been an honor for this first year to serve the state administration as the Director of Commerce.
Good. Yeah, so doing economic development in Enid, in a small, Enid's it's certainly one of our top 10 counties, top 10 cities when it comes to economic development work. You went from there to, again, now running all 77 counties, both rural and urban. But before we get into some of those, again, those top five questions, give everybody kind of this difference between rural and urban Oklahoma, and just the differences there, just how unique Oklahoma is in that there are certainly a lot of states that have very rural areas and then large cities, but Oklahoma, you have a few large cities, but most of it is rural or smaller towns. How has that been going from Enid America to running the state?
Yeah, well, and we even changed the mission statement at the Department of Commerce whenever Secretary Copeland and I came on board last year. It's always been about creating jobs, and that's very important. But our goal at the Department of Commerce is now to create an environment where growth can happen, because state government doesn't create jobs, Department of Commerce doesn't create jobs. We create an environment where businesses can create jobs, and that happens on the local level. And so that's been our focus, is to make sure we support those local communities whenever they try to create that local environment for growth as well. And that's what I've noticed, even beyond rural and urban, every community does it different. In northwest Oklahoma, where I'm from, it might be a chamber of commerce or a mayor that's very involved with it. In eastern Oklahoma, you're going to have a tribe or a council of government, a community action agency that also might be taking the lead. And then in the municipalities of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, you might have a very active city, along with a very active chamber of commerce or convention and visitors bureau. Different pockets within the community are doing different economic development work, but it's important to remember it's very localized. That's when it works best, and that's been our focus at Commerce.
Good. So let's get right into this, because I don't want this to be too long. I want people to be able to digest this. But since what has been going on over the last few weeks, as I said, information overload. People are overwhelmed, but I know that gosh, a couple overarching questions that small business owners I have been calling you and emailing you about. Let's just go one at a time. Let's start with number one and do two or three of these. But what are those top 5 questions that people are asking you, and what's the answer to those questions?
Well, the number one question right now has to do with the executive orders that have come out. As Governor Stitt has, I think, done a fantastic job of walking that line of keeping a very close eye on public health, as well as also keeping a very close eye on the health of our local economy. I thought Secretary Jerome Lothridge just said it magically the other day. He said at some point, we're going to have to restart this engine in Oklahoma, and it'll be a whole lot easier to restart it if the engine's still warm than if we're having to do a cold turn on it. And that is, I think it just sums it up. So the big issue for us at Commerce right now is the idea of essential services. The governor has provided an executive order for the counties that have had positive test cases of coronavirus, COVID-19, that there are certain essential services that are provided to stay open, and then there's some of those that stay closed. We've given a very specific list of those companies on our okcommerce.gov website, and I may mention that site several times in our conversation because it is ripe with lots of information. But that is the number one hit right now on our site. We take you through a series of steps. If you own a company in Oklahoma and you're wondering whether you're still eligible to be open, we show you the list from the executive order. We have very specific NAICS codes, which is the North American Industry Classification System. If you don't know what your NAICS code is, you can look it up real easy on the internet. But you match your NAICS code up with what's on our website. That allows you to be open. But then we also have a form you can fill out if you are requesting an exception. If you'd like further clarification, you can. But by far, that is the most popular question that we've gotten right now.
And that is what is that website one more time?
It's okcommerce.gov. Or you can just Google Oklahoma Department of Commerce, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. But lots of resources there, especially on essential services.
Great.
And one thing I might mention, if you don't mind, Lieutenant Governor, is that this would be important for the business owners out there. As part of the executive order, we don't require that you have a posted letter or any kind of documentation in the window. Your employees don't need something to carry along with them. There's been a lot of confusion about that. We've tried to get the information out on social media, but there is not a requirement for documentation in order to stay open at this time.
Okay. Question number 2, what's another big question that you're getting at the Department of Commerce?
Well, there's 2 ways that you can support businesses. One is to reduce the expenses for those businesses during a difficult time, but the other one is to try to figure out ways to increase revenue. And the federal government over the last 3 weeks has passed 3 fairly significant incentive assistance programs for business. And so besides the essential services request, our other big question right now is, how do you access these services? How do you sign up for Sba Assistance? And we have one gentleman, his name's Ray Little, who leads that effort for us. He has a team of 8 people that serve with him with specific industries that they're doing technical assistance for. And again, you can go to okcommerce.gov. You can go, we've got a link directly to the SBA website for 2 different small business assistance programs. Right now, you can sign up for the SBA economic injury disaster loan program. I tend to get that wrong sometimes. The economic development injury disasters loan program.
Federal government makes sure it's a mouthful. Yeah.
Yes, and it doesn't even have an acronym. Normally, a government program has an acronym. But you can sign up for that right now. We're suggesting that folks do that late into the evening or early in the morning because it's a very popular site. But the second program that will be online very soon is the Payroll Protection Program. It just passed in the CARE Act last week. That will be delivered through your local bank. And they've not written the rules on that, or at least not released the rules on that yet. You're welcome to go ahead and call your bank, but they probably won't have a lot of information for a couple more days.
I know there are a few banks. I've already seen some advertising that, those checks, the check is in the mail, from the federal government, may take 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hearing 3 weeks. A lot of banks are, giving overdrafting abilities from business owners, and are, some of those smaller community banks. And actually, I've seen big banks offering these services in Oklahoma as well. So going to the Department of Commerce website, but then working with their local bank is kind of the 1-2 step.
Yes, that's it. And probably another question that we get along with this one quite a bit is, how do I learn more about these? I mean, with social media out there now, you can find a million different summaries of the bills that passed and technical assistance. And in order to kind of like we're doing here today, to really get down to where the rubber meets the road, Department of Commerce is hosting a Zoom call every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock. You can go onto any of our social media, or you can go to our website and sign up for that. We actually have experts from SBA that are on that call, and they answer all of the very specific questions that you might have about, do I sign up as a corporation, as a sole proprietorship? What types of financial information do I need? Is there a personal guarantee? All these types of questions the SBA experts can answer. And then on Wednesdays of every week, we have a series of 8 conference calls that happen throughout the day with Secretary Copeland. And it's specific for industries. So we'll do a nonprofits call, we'll do an agriculture call, an energy call, an aerospace call, manufacturing, services, retail. And in that way, we can do a deeper dive into that specific industry, relate any type of specific information that's coming from the governor. And it's a smaller group, so we can have more interaction. It's a Zoom call, so you can use the chat line to ask your questions. It's a great way to get information.
Brent, where again would they go to get that information? You mentioned your website, Tuesday and Thursday, and then there's Wednesday specific industry calls. Tell them again where they can go to sign up for those.
Yes, all of that's at okcommerce.gov. It's all on that site. You just keep scrolling down. And whenever you get to that homepage, it becomes very obvious. There's a bright orange banner. And as you can tell, I'm a big Oklahoma State fan. We're going to have orange banners everywhere. But you click on that orange banner for COVID-19 resources, and it'll take you to all of this information.
Excellent. Any other big questions that kind of were on your list that viewers really need to know about?
Yeah, well, the other big one is unemployment. There's 2 parts to this. One is unemployment insurance, which I'm probably not your resident expert on that. Robin Robertson is our new director of OESC. She is doing an absolutely spectacular job. The numbers that they are experiencing right now are very high. But what's happening right now that nobody else in the world really knows about is that we've got this very close working relationship between Robin at the Employment Securities Commission and Don Morris, who is our state workforce director, works at Commerce. They are interacting multiple times a day and making sure that those that are unemployed and acquiring unemployment insurance are connected to okjobmatch.com, which is where all the available jobs are right now. There's a lot of people unemployed, but there's also a lot of companies that are hiring right now in order to apply specific services. The 2 of them are really connecting those 2 dots right now, and there's been hundreds of success stories already that are very exciting. But the way to access that is okjobmatch.com. I would encourage anybody that's looking for a job right now to go upload your resume. My son just is graduating from college in May from Oklahoma State, and he had used okjobmatch.com to find his potential employer in the future. And it's an easy process to go through. We encourage anybody to go there.
So again, the employment versus those that have filed for unemployment, a website to direct them to. You mentioned Robin, who is a rock star, but specific website maybe for them to if they have, because I am starting to get more questions about that employment. Hey, late on filing my taxes in 2018, can I still file for these protections moving forward? A lot of questions when it comes to employment. Website again for that?
Well, okjobmatch.com would be a place to start. If you're specific looking for unemployment insurance, you can search for Oklahoma Employment Securities Commission. That's Oklahoma Employment Securities Commission. Google that, it'll take you to the site. But the nice thing with your branding efforts that you worked on earlier this year, we're combining a lot of our web presence so that we link back and forth. So if you go to Job Match, you can find your way to OESC. If you go to okcommerce.gov, you can find your way to unemployment insurance. We're all connected.
Great. Last thing, I a little off subject, but I know it's one of the biggest efforts that you guys are tackling right now at the Department of Commerce, because you're leading the effort on it, is the census. And which probably would be the #1 story being talked about in America today, outside of Tiger King, the documentary on Netflix, which we don't need to talk about. But the census would probably be the #1 story everyone would be talking about, because it is that big of a deal. Do you want to maybe just a plug for those watching this, how big of a deal this is for them to fill out their census?
Yes, very important. As you're sitting at home right now, if you should have, at this point, this is end of March, you should have received in the mail a letter from the U.S. Census Bureau asking you to respond. And if you have not received that in the mail, you can go to okletscount.org. That's okletscount.org. And that's our state census website. It'll show you a link that you can click to the U.S. Census Bureau. You can sign up even if you didn't get that letter in the mail. But now is the time to be doing that. April 1st is considered Census Day. And the Census Bureau has been changing their process with what's been going on with COVID-19. They have shut down all of their local census offices until the middle of April, and I'm going to guess that will probably be extended even beyond mid-April. Mm-hmm. And they've ceased hiring enumerators. Normally, if you got something in the mail and you didn't respond, then the Census Bureau would send somebody out to your door over the summer to see who all lived in the house. It's looking like they may not even have that interaction, which gives us really a leg up in Oklahoma, because we have a great ground game that's been put together. We have a coordinator in every county for the census, first time in state history that we have done that. We've put together hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing. We have a great complete count committee on the state level. And so I truly believe this is going to give us an opportunity to maybe step ahead of some of those other states. But I will tell you today, we're about 3 percentage points behind the rest of the nation, average-wise, on our response rate. So we're going to have a social media push the next 2 weeks to really get people to fill out that form. Good.
Yeah, I know this is a huge deal for us when it comes to getting those dollars back into the state of Oklahoma. And you guys have done a great job. You're right. We've got coordinators in all 77 counties. That's a huge part of it. Any other final words that you would have, Brent? Again, I think you've given the okcommerce.gov website a few times, but it's just imperative. If you have questions, you can go there and you can get all of your answers right there, and connecting with the right people, because as you've said many times, and I certainly have, yes, we're doing interviews like this, we're trying to get the message out, but we're not going anywhere. We will answer your phone calls, we will answer your emails as quickly as we possibly can, because we know there's 4 million people in the state of Oklahoma that all have questions, and we want to get to each and every one of them when they do.
Yep. Nope. And what I've been telling our staff at Commerce is just make sure you communicate, make sure you're responsive. We are at our core a technical technical assistance agency right now at Commerce. And so if you're a business owner, if you're a decision maker at a business, if you're an employee at a business looking for information, you can go to okcommerce.gov. But if you click on any of those links and you provide a question to somebody at Commerce, you're going to get a response back within minutes, maybe within hours, certainly not within days. You'll get it much more quickly than that. We've put all of our resources to make sure that we're communicating with our business and industry sector, and we're gonna make it through this. I have no doubt, and we're trying to position ourselves to make sure we have a rocket launch out of this and make up some ground on some of the other states.
A state agency that will respond within minutes or hours. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Brent, thank you so much for joining us on our Oklahoma Proud interviews. And we will be back soon with future interviews. We're with you. We're with you every step of the way, Oklahoma. Oklahoma strong in all 77 counties. And we look forward to walking through this with you every step of the way. Brent, thank you again. Appreciate you.
Thank you.